Thank you for subscribing to this channel. This is a Reading Part C practice video.
The correct answer to this question is option B, inconsistent responses to new findings. Let's break down why this is the correct answer and why the other options are incorrect. The passage mentions that changes in standards were necessitated due to various factors related to intravenous fluids for hospitalized children. Here's why each option is correct or incorrect. A. More evidence of associated risks seen. This option suggests that the changes in standards were primarily driven by an increase in evidence showing associated risks. However, the passage does not explicitly state that more evidence was the sole reason for the changes. It mentions that risks were highlighted in medical literature and warnings from other countries, but it doesn't specify that the changes were solely due to more evidence. B. Inconsistent responses to new findings. Correct answer. This option aligns with the passage's information. The passage talks about how responses to the changing literature, along with interim recommendations, led to variable practices and inconsistencies across hospitals in NSW Health. This indicates that inconsistent responses to new findings were a key factor in the need for revised standards. C. Protocols that prioritize pediatricians only. This option suggests that the changes in standards were driven by a bias toward pediatricians, which is not supported by the passage. The passage states that the standards were developed with input from clinical experts, health share, and various partners, suggesting a collaborative approach rather than a narrow focus on pediatricians. In summary, option B is the correct answer because it accurately reflects the information provided in the passage, which indicates that inconsistent responses to new findings were a significant factor in the changes to the standards for intravenous fluids in NSW Health hospitals.
Let's look at the next question.
The correct answer is indeed A. Perform in the presence of a billing physician. Let's break down why this is the correct option and why the other options are incorrect. A. Perform in the presence of a billing physician. This option is correct because it states that students must perform their contributions to a billable service in the physical presence of a teaching physician or a resident in a service that meets the requirements for teaching physician billing. This aligns with the provided policy, which states that students must perform their tasks under the direct supervision of a billing physician. B. Document services accorded in the medical record. While it's true that students may document services in the medical record, the key requirement here is that the performance of these services must occur in the presence of a billing physician. This option does not emphasize the requirement of performing services in the presence of a billing physician, which is the primary focus of the given policy. C. Record significant decision-making exercises involved. This option mentions recording decision-making exercises, which is a component of the evaluation and management process. However, it doesn't emphasize the requirement of performing services in the presence of a billing physician, which is the primary concern outlined in the provided policy. In summary, option A is correct because it accurately reflects the requirement that students must perform their contributions to a billable service in the presence of a billing physician, as per the provided policy. Options B and C do not emphasize this crucial requirement and are therefore incorrect in the context of the given policy.
Let's look at the next question.
The correct answer is indeed B. Articulate the symptoms with the patient. Let's explain why this option is correct and why the other options are incorrect. B. Articulate the symptoms with the patient. This option is correct because it emphasizes the importance of communicating and discussing the patient's symptoms with them. This approach allows for a better understanding of the patient's perspective, which is crucial for making an accurate diagnosis and providing appropriate care. It aligns with the advice in the provided text, which encourages understanding the patient's version of reality and focusing on their symptoms and experiences. A. Convey the gist of the problem. While conveying the gist of the problem can be important, it may not provide enough detail for a thorough evaluation, especially when dealing with complex medical or psychiatric issues. The key to effective communication in this context is to articulate the specific symptoms and experiences the patient is going through. C. Focus on associated illness outcomes. This option does not directly address the importance of discussing symptoms with the patient. While considering illness outcomes is valuable in treatment planning, It is secondary to the immediate need to understand and articulate the patient's symptoms, as mentioned in the provided text. In summary, option B is correct because it aligns with the emphasis on understanding and discussing the patient's symptoms, as stated in the provided text. Options A and C do not specifically address this primary aspect of patient interaction and evaluation, making them less appropriate in this context.
Let's look at the next question.
The correct answer is, appropriate dispensation of information is legal. Let's explain why this option is correct and why the other options are incorrect. Appropriate dispensation of information is legal. This option is correct because it accurately reflects the key point made in the text. It states that sharing information is legal when done appropriately and within the boundaries defined by laws and regulations. The provided text outlines several legal means and justifications for sharing information. Therefore, this option aligns with the information presented. B. Judicious consideration is required for data sharing. While judicious consideration is undoubtedly important when sharing data, the provided text focuses more on the legal aspects of sharing information. It emphasizes that information sharing should comply with legal requirements and that specific legal bases are necessary for disclosure. This option, however, does not capture the central theme of the provided text as effectively as option AC. Consent of the individual must be maintained. While obtaining consent is one of the legal means for sharing information, the provided text also mentions other legal bases for disclosure, such as statutory bases, court orders, and public interest justifications. This option only highlights one aspect, consent, while the text includes a broader range of legal justifications for sharing information. Therefore, this option is less comprehensive and specific compared to option A. In summary, option A is correct because it accurately reflects the central theme of the provided text, which is that the appropriate dispensation of information can be legal, subject to various legal means and justifications. Options B and C, while addressing important considerations, do not capture the primary emphasis of the text as effectively as option A.